Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome all of you to our month of February Clarity of Mind through Mindfulness session. Today, our topic is the six roots of disputes, which is another topic from Bhikkhu Bodhi's book, In the Buddha's Words. With great respect, I would like to invite Most Venerable Panadure Chandaratana Thero to enlighten us on this topic and make us see these roots within ourselves and to create a harmony within our families, within in our community. Teruan Sannai Bante, good morning.
Thero Sanai, good morning. So before we begin the topic today, so let us spend few minutes spending our time relaxing ourselves and basically trying to establish mindfulness. So let me share the screen. Now basically we are hoping to spend some minutes, few minutes spending our time, particularly at first establishing mindfulness within the body. So I invite all of you to sit comfortably, calm down yourself, keep your head straight, neck also straight, shoulders relaxed, arms resting, upper half of the body straight, and we are comfortably seated. Now we can gently close our eyes. So once we closed our eyes, probably we feel that we are alone and I can still hear, but nothing much. And I am somewhat secluded. And we are now trying to start feeling the body. So let us do a quick body scan. Eyes are gently closed so that probably you can feel there's a slight sensation at your eyelids. But we are not forcefully closing the eyes. It's a very gentle, natural type of closing our eyes. But still there could be a very slight sensation there. Lips softly touching. So there could be very soft sensation there as well. Jaws are not tightly coupled. We are not crunching the teeth. And tongue resting at its root. Basically, overall in your face, there is no any kind of a tension. No wrinkles in your forehead, no wrinkles in the eyebrows. If you like, you can have a slight smile. So currently we are sitting. So sitting posture, quite ordinary, very relaxed, comfortable, sitting posture. So we recognize it. Now we can take a deep breath purposely. Hold it for a while. Slowly release. As we further go down, we can recognize the neck is straight, shoulders relaxed. You are not purposely holding them. Arms resting. There is no any tension in your arms. Upper half of the body straight. And clothes touching the body. At certain places it would be little tightness. At another place it may be just a rubbing sensation. Just see whether you can recognize these touch sensations. So as we are gradually connecting with the body, we probably now feel various bodily processes. This body is breathing. Accordingly, we may feel that the Abdomen comes forward and it returns. As you are breathing in, the abdomen comes forward, rising. As you are breathing out, it returns, falling. So we can recognize this rising, falling. It's quite simple. It's not a burden to the mind. So we let the breathing happens naturally. And we are quietly, joyfully keeping our attention at the abdomen. Trying to be fully aware of whole rising and the whole falling. If you are going further down, we can recognize that the buttocks touching the cushion. There is some concentration there. Thigh muscles relaxed, calf muscles relaxed. Legs are bent, and sometimes your foot, the soles, may be touching the ground or maybe a carpet. So we recognize this very relaxed sitting posture. Calm down ourselves, relax ourselves. Now we can establish mindfulness on breathing. We are keeping our attention at the nostril. Allow the body to breathe naturally and try to recognize each in breath, each out breath. Here also we allow the body to naturally breathe. We are not purposely breathing, forcefully breathing. Rather, we allow the body to naturally breathe. And again, we are using this in breath and out breath to establish mindfulness. So, if you are comfortable in being mindful about the whole breathing, now we can closely examine it, how in breath begins, how it evolves, and how it ends. And we might experience a little gap just before the beginning of out breath. Then we experience the beginning of out breath, the middle, the end. Then again, we may experience kind of a gap just before the beginning of next in breath. So we are closely examining this whole cycle and we are inquiring with a quiet mind. It is not that we are thinking or imagining, rather, we are closely examining with a silent mind, investigating about this whole breathing cycle. As we are examining, probably we might find out from which nostril the in breath happens, from which nostril the out breath happens, where is it touching, compared to in-breath, whether the out-breath is warm or cool. So these kind of very subtle aspects become evident to us as we are closely examining the whole cycle. Okay, we are going to start the clarity of mind for mindfulness session, the Dhamma teaching today. So we will first pay homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So, as Shalika mentions today, the topic also taken from the words of the Buddha compiled by Bhikkhu Bodhi. And actually, that book is a kind of a anthology taken from various suttas. And this actually coming from the Majjhima Nikaya. It's called Samagama Sutta. Samagama Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya 104. So it's talking about the Vivadamulani. Now, Vivadamulani. Vivada means the conflicts, and sometimes you can say it's kind of arguments also. And at first, it may be arguments, and then it can lead to create conflicts. And at one time, Buddha was living in this particular village called Samagama. And at that moment, he is explaining these roots to Venerable Ananda and particularly focusing about conflicts within the Sangha. But actually, it is not unique to the Sangha, it is common to everyone. Whatever society, whatever family, whatever kind of a team, a group. So, everywhere, this harmony is something that we really want, kind of a teamwork, working as a good member, contributing our whatever the skill. So, basically, so this particular sutta highlights how these conflicts can happen, what are the causes. And so the teaching in general really matters because we all need some sort of a harmony. Now, say within the family, say husband, wife, children, maybe grandparents. So, likewise, it's a kind of a family. But people might have different views, different ideas, and they have their own priorities. But still, if you want to have a harmonious family, then we need to think about how to maintain it. So, what are the causes which can lead to sort of disputes? On the other hand, if you are working in a team, now say you are working in a team at your company or maybe within your organization. So, within the team, there should be a good harmony, good understanding. Otherwise, there could be various conflicts. And when we are leading maybe even another sort of an organization, If people don't understand each other, then there could be conflicts. And actually, we are going to look at what are the causes for these conflicts. And now, when it comes to the Sangha, it's even more critical because Sangha members are associating so many people. And according to this sutta, not only the humans, even the devas. Now, devas are not seeing and we are not directly communicating, maybe, but still, according to the teaching, we can see certain devas are supporting and they are also rejoicing on what we are doing when we are harmoniously living. And again, there is a group of devas always associating or blessing these kind of good activities. But on the other hand, if there's a conflict within the Sangha, so it can have a disharmony within the humans as well as the devas. So it's a kind of a very cosmological view that Buddha is giving, very vast kind of a view that Buddha is giving here. And therefore, the blessing of the whole community is to have the unity. Samagganang taposuko. So the samagga. So the kind of a samagri, some kind of a harmony, living peacefully is something that Buddha always encouraged. Actually, I remember in one occasion, Venerable this Pajapati, you know that the stepmother of Buddha. So after she became a nun, and she also was want to attend the Buddha and help him or in a attending way. And one time actually she heard that Buddha is sneezing. So when Buddha was sneezing, and she was simply saying, "Okay, may may the Lord live longer," something like that. But Buddha denied it. Buddha refused it, and he interestingly mentioned, "If you real, I mean, you are not supposed to say to me like that, like you are telling to the others. Now, say for example." When your family member could be sneezing, probably you may simply say, "Okay, you may live longer." That is expecting some kind of a healthy long longevity. But Buddha denies telling that to the Tathagata. He instead say, if you really want to bless me, okay, bless the unity of the Sangha. It gives a really interesting view that how Buddha was so critical about the unity among the Sangha. So the community of the Sangha has to be fairly united, and that is what Buddha expected, and that is what he expect even when the longevity is expected. Not that he himself want to live longer, rather he wants to have the unity among the Sangha that he understood or presented as the kind of a longevity. In a way, we can say it is the longevity of the sasana. Therefore, longevity of the sasana is also represented by the harmony among the Sangha. But on the other hand, why the conflicts happen? So that is what we are going to look at. And we can see the conflicts are entirely depend on the unwholesome qualities within the minds. So if we are able to abandon these sort of unwholesome qualities, then we all can live harmoniously. Now, according to this sutta, Buddha gives six causes for disputes. Number one, anger and resentment. Number two, contempt and insolence. Number three, envy and stinginess. Number four, deceit and hypocrisy. Number five, evil wishes and wrong views. Then number six, attachment to views. Now we are going to look at all these six one by one. And these are the Vivadamula, the roots of the conflicts. Now, in a way, these are well understood. Those are not so difficult to understand. Number one, root one, anger and resentment. Kodocha upanahocha. The koda. So sometimes people are there, they easily get irritated. And not only that, they keep the grudge, they hold the grudge. So we can't expect every time everybody to agree on some matter and how to have the same view, same kind of a understanding. So there could be different understanding or different views, different ideas about a particular matter. And sometimes people use their temper and they arguing. Okay, but still we are holding that as a grudge. We remember that as a grudge, and we have kind of a resentment towards the others. So we are holding that for a long time. So that is in a way quite detrimental to the harmony. Assume that we are leading a meeting and different people are talking, and we are asking everybody's views, and each individual may be presenting their own view. So there could be some different views. That's quite understandable. But when my view being sort of attacked, my view being sort of looked down, if I am holding it as a grudge, I am having kind of a resentment and trying to take the revenge from whoever that person. So then actually I am leading towards this kind of a dispute because I am not ready to. I mean, not only that. I mean, there may be mistakes. I am doing certain mistakes and someone else also doing certain mistakes. But if you are keep on holding that, keep on remembering that, never forgiving, then still it can lead to some sort of a conflict. Because I am holding that as a grudge, every time I see that person, I get irritated. Every time I remember that incident, again I get irritated. Because I'm holding that as a grudge. So whatever the incident has happened, I'm holding that as a grudge, as a bad memory, and not being able to forgive, not being able to forget. And ultimately, we lose the respect, and ultimately, conflict quickly arise. Even the slightest thing would be enough to go for some sort of a eruption, because kind of an explosion, because we are holding it internally, we are brooding, and there may be a one small incident later, it can explode the whole thing. Now the conflict happened. So the first root, therefore, Buddha mentioned anger and resentment. Kodo chopana hocha. Anger and the resentment. So we are, in one sense, we get angry. On the other hand, we are holding it for a long time. In another sutta, Buddha gives another type of a simile. So, what is the type of character you are having with respect to holding anger? He's giving a beautiful simile there. Now, assume that you are writing on a stone. In a way, it's a kind of a scripture. And when you are doing engraving type of a thing on a stone, it may last for long, long time. Assume that you are writing on the floor, maybe on the ground. It still may last for some time, but when rains and when winds happen, then it may slowly delete, erased. Assume that you are writing on the water. As you are writing, it get erased. You can't keep anything written within the water because as you are writing, it get erased. So Buddha is giving this simile to tell us some sort of advice. So how long are you keeping anger within your mind? Are you keeping it like as a stone inscription? Are you keeping it like something written on the floor? Or are you keeping it like something written on water? So what is the category you are in? So that is something Leka Sutta. So that is something that he mentioned very beautifully, giving us some sort of a message. So if I am holding a kind of a grudge, if I am not forgiving and holding for a long, long time, I am the one suffering most. On the other hand, a very vulnerable situation for making conflicts. That is something that we need to understand. So the first cause, first root for conflicts is this unforgiving and holding anger as a grudge, not forgiving. So this is the first cause, Buddha say, for the conflicts. Then number two, root two, contempt and insolence. Makkocha palasocha. Makko. So makko means you are looking down the others, always condemning others, always finding fault with the others. On the other hand, you may be keeping yourself high while looking down the others. You still want to keep yourself at a high level, and sometimes called as the Attukansana Paravambana, where every time you are criticizing the others, condemning the others, looking down the others, but you are exaggerating yourself, you are holding yourself up on a pedestal by looking down the others. So if we have this kind of an attitude, it's very easily conflicts can happen. And we may have a kind of an arrogant behavior and sort of a disrespectful attitude towards the others. And this is very difficult for us to maintain harmony if we have such kind of a behavior. So actually this lesson, this teaching is to inspect within ourselves. Do I have such kind of an attitude? Do I have such kind of a temperament? Am I easily looking down the others? Am I always trying to find fault with the others? And kind of I am having disrespectful attitude towards the others. So if that is my way of behavior, that is very difficult to deal with me. So I, as a person, I am quite vulnerable for conflicts because I have this sort of a qualities. Now, mentally, internally, if we have this sort of attitude, then it's very difficult to work as a team. So if a person have this kind of bad behavior, then he can be a one reason to have conflicts because he never respect others. He never want to listen to the others, always looking down the others, have certain kind of arrogant behavior, never want to, accept someone else's views. So it can easily creates some sort of a conflict, creates division. So this is the second root Buddha mentioned in this Samagama Sutta, how the conflicts can happen. Then number three, envy and stinginess. Now this is also a very interesting cause Buddha highlights, not only in even in this sutta. If you refer Digha Nikaya Sakkapanha Sutta, there are also when God Sakka asked from the Buddha a very interesting question. And God Chakka, as you know, he is the chief for many several realms of the heaven. Tavatinsa, he is in the Tavatinsa and he is the king for several heavenly realms. And he one occasion approached the Buddha and he is asking a very interesting question. Bante, now all the humans want to live happily. All the humans want to live harmoniously, live peacefully. But still, every day there are conflicts. What's the reason? Not only that, Bhante, even the devas, even the celestial beings, they want to live happily. But still there are conflicts. So what is the reason? So you can see this having conflicts is not even unique to human realm. Even the heavenly realms, there seems to be conflicts. It's coming from the god Sakka. He's saying, okay, still there are conflicts within the heavenly realms. So what is the cause? And Buddha immediately say, Issa Macharya. Issa and Macharya. Issa is the jealousy or the envy. Macharya is the stinginess or miserliness. Now, why it happens? Assume now within a group, within a country, or within a society, there are rich people. So they have their own wealth and they may have good occupations and different avenues to have a lot of money. So a lot of resources are there. They are quite wealthy. But if they are not ready to share with the others, then that is some sort of a greedy, stingy behavior, miserly behavior, while having enough resources, while having enough wealth, they are not ready to share. So that is one situation. That is because of their miserliness. So they don't have an attitude of sharing with others, giving to others, donating to others. Rather, they want to gather, they want to accumulate as much as possible for their benefit, never wanting to share with the others. So that is because of stinginess. Now the other group is quite poor. They don't have enough. They don't have enough money to eat and drink and to live happily. So they are quite poor. On the other hand, the rich people don't want to share. Now what happens? The envy arise, jealousy arise within the poor people because they are envious about the rich people. They are envious towards the rich people because they don't have. The poor people are quite suffering. They are living in a sort of bad condition. Now they are envious about the other side, other group. Now there's a conflict always. In one sense, there's a miserliness. On the other side, there's the envy. So these are two conflicting situations. Now the society that the whatever the group is every time within sort of a conflict because unwilling to share and on the other hand don't want to see someone else's success, not having any mudita, not having any mudita, the altruistic joy. Rather, what has is the envy or jealousy. Assume that when someone else is happy and they are living sort of in a luxurious way, are you feeling jealous or are you feeling some sort of an appreciation? Are you having altruistic joy or are you feeling sort of jealousy? Are you trying to always find fault? Okay, how these people are living like this? Or do you have some sort of a appreciative type of a mentality to see someone else's growth, to see someone else's success? So basically, that is something that we need to look at ourselves. On the other hand, if we have something, it may be material wealth, it may be some sort of a skill, and when someone is asking for that, am I ready to offer it? Am I ready to share it? Or I don't want to share it. Now, both qualities may reside in ourselves. It is not that every time the same quality, but both these unwholesome qualities, time to time, can appear within our mind. At one time, we may be envious, at another time, we may be stingy. Now, if we are able to recognize these unwholesome qualities, then we better take an action to abandon that because otherwise we can be a root cause to have some sort of a conflict within a community. Now we are particularly talking about Sangha community. Now say within the Sangha, say there are Sangha members who are having a lot of support from the lay community and they may be having robes and maybe whatever other facilities. So they are being well respected and they receive so much of resources, so much of requisites. On the other hand, there may be other Sangha members who don't have that. They very hardly have enough requisites and that also not in good quality. And probably there could be some sort of a situation where the second group, the ones who don't have, could have some sort of a jealousy towards the other group. And on the other hand, the first group who are having some sort of a enough requisites, if they don't want to share, then of course there are going to be a conflict. Because both groups are depending on someone else's generosity, and but still they don't want to share among themselves, then there is a conflict. So this is something that we need to understand. It is common to not only the community of the Sangha, it is common to the whole society at large. And the social disharmony happens because of these two conflicting qualities, conflicting situations. But on the other hand, if we are ready to share, by sharing with the others, we can still have some happiness. It is not that we always have to be happy by accumulating things, amassing things, but rather when we give something and when someone else also being sort of benefited by seeing their you know that they are uh, life being changed because of our generosity. So that gives us a lot of happiness. So generosity is not merely helping someone else and we losing something. Rather, we helping someone as well as we spiritually be happy, we mentally be happy. By looking at someone else's growth, we still can be happy. So therefore, these qualities like mudita, altruistic joy, is something really positive, something really beneficial. And we actually, some time back, we did a whole presentation on mudita, altruistic joy. It's a really beautiful quality that one can have because it is very rarely that we can say every time I can be happy only when I receive something, only when I become successful. Then we have very less opportunities to be happy. On the other hand, if we can be happy by seeing someone else's happiness, someone else's success, then we can be happy for a long, long time because there are enough situations that others are also become successful. I can look at it, I can be happy. So it may lead to a harmonious way of living. But on the other hand, if I don't have such kind of a quality, then I always have some sort of enmity, and then the other side may have sort of stinginess. So likewise, so there could be various conflicts. Number four, deceit and hypocrisy. Maya cha satayancha. Maya. So Maya means kind of a pretending thing. We actually don't have certain virtuous behavior, but we are pretending that I am really a virtuous person. I'm not having any kind of a very good spiritual wholesome quality, but I am pretending that saying that I am having it. That's a really uh, disastrous situation. And actually, Buddha has taken it to a very high level of offense. Now, probably you have heard about four parajikas. And within the four parajikas, the last parajika, last great offense is to tell that something is with me, some sort of a spiritual, high, advanced quality is with me, really not having it. Just to get someone else's attention, just to get someone else's praise, just to receive some luxurious requisites with some ulterior motive. If some monk is telling, okay, I have Maggapala, I have Dhyana, something like that, he's hinting, telling that I have it, then, and still not really having it. And then he's committing this parajika, the fourth one. So you can see that Buddha has taken it to a very critical level. At that moment, he loses the monkhood. He is no more a monk because he's a person who is having this kind of a uh, wrong behavior, and he in a way corrupts the sangha because he not having the sublime quality, he pretend telling that I am having that quality. So then the whole community get into some sort of a conflict, and the good monks and good nuns, whoever, they are in trouble because everybody start blaming the whole community, not only that particular person, but as a general. So the whole community being sort of criticized. So the kind of conflicts can happen because one person is having this kind of a maya, we are pretending the virtues. On the other hand, if he is having some unwholesome qualities and he is trying to hide it. Now, typically, when there is certain unwholesome quality and that can lead to certain kind of offenses, and easily Buddha mentioned, therefore you better come and confess it. Now there is a way of very beautiful confession is explained in the in the Vinaya. So how to confess one's faults, one's mistakes. So it's not a bad thing. I mean, you come and confess, okay, when sir, I did this something, and it is a mistake. I was not that mindful at that time. So I want to correct myself. Then the other member of the Sangha, so he advised, okay, you don't do it again. So you be mindful. And like that, he is making a kind of a advice. That is how the community of the Sangha is growing. Because everyone might do a mistake because we are all humans. That's acceptable. But on the other hand, if we do still mistakes and hide it and pretending like having some sublime qualities are quite detrimental. So internally, as a person who is having a deceitful nature and he is deceiving, cheating, and it can easily leads to some sort of a conflicts. So that's the issue. So you can see within the community, when people are behaving like that, it's very, very difficult to trust. Actually, it is not unique to the member of the Sangha. I mean, you can see it's everywhere. Within the society, we can see that people are talking really beautifully, talking really nicely, but internally, they don't really deserve it. They don't really represent it. They are having certain sort of wrong behaviors, but still they show a very beautiful white quality. I mean, they pretend that without having it. So you can take enough examples, and when these situations are being revealed by the society, assume there may be some sort of a member in the parliament or a kind of a politician, and he's pretending as a really good person and he's being appreciated by the whole people. But later he being found, he may have gone through certain fraud or some sort of a cheating or theft or something like that, then everything collapse. So it is very common thing. People are pretending having some good qualities and hiding their bad qualities. And such kind of a behavior will lead to conflicts. The number five, evil wishes and wrong views. Papichacha micha ditticha. Papicha, unwholesome desires. So internally, one has certain unwholesome desire, certain ulterior motive is there. On the other hand, one might can have even wrong understanding about the Dhamma, misrepresentation about the Dhamma, and as a result of that, he may have wrong view. But unfortunately, that wrong view also difficult to abandon. That actually uh, coming as another cause, as the sixth cause. Here, as a community, if we have some sort of wrong view, then we may even spread it to the others, and then the whole community get into a wrong view. Now, say for example, if someone is particular monk is having wrong understanding, he is not yet really mature in the Dhamma, he hasn't understood really, but he is having certain view. Now he is preaching Dhamma, he is spreading that view. Then whoever listening, whoever sort of uh, following him, get that wrong view. They also start following that. So therefore, it's always better to refer to the Buddha's teaching rather than telling our own views. If you are telling something, we should tell, okay, this is taken from this particular sutta. So you always can give references rather than trying to show one's own views, rather than trying to highlight one's own views. If we are always coming to the suttas, we are always referencing to the sutta, the primary sources, then actually we are somewhat safe because it is there. Whoever the listeners can always go and look at it. They can do further investigation. So then they may understand, okay, that monk has mentioned this correct thing. Because sometimes people can't immediately understand things, they can't immediately sort of accept things, but we have given the references and they can always go and refer it and they themselves can understand it then it is not that my own view I have mentioned, rather it is mentioned in this particular sutta, by the Buddha. So likewise, if we are preaching like that, then there are less conflicts. On the other hand, if we are simply trying to propagate our own views, then there can be conflicts. Someone else might propagate another view, and there may be conflicting views, and they are, of course, going to have conflicts within the community and within the society. Because this person may be, in one sense, he is having wrong view. On the other hand, he might have a bad desire, wrong desire, unwholesome desire, just to get popular, just to become highlighted, something like that. So if one has such kind of evil wishes and also holding wrong views, so that could be easily get into a conflict within the community. There may be others who understand it, they want to refute it, and there may be other lay people who may understand it, they want to refute it, refuse it. So likewise, there could be conflicts when such possibilities there. Number 6, clinging to views. So the clinging to views, it is where he's holding the views strongly, doesn't want to abandon it even when someone else shown it. So that's the other issue. Because sometimes, even though it is a view, even if it is the correct view, still we shouldn't strongly hold it as a person, as a personality view. So what happens is, whenever we are telling something, whenever we are representing something, so we start holding it, we start sort of attaching to it, we start grasping it. Then when someone else is going against it, we start conflicting. We start sort of blaming that person because I represent that. I have become that view. I'm holding that view. I am strongly grasping that view. So I'm not ready to abandon my view. So that is why it is called Sanditi Paramasa. Paramasa. Paramasa means strongly holding, strongly adhering to something. Then it is very difficult to let go, and one may refuse to listen, and rigid attachment to opinions. Very rigid attachment to opinions. Not ready to abandon, not ready to listen. And then, of course, there are endless arguments, and there is no reconciliation, and then the conflicts. Now, you can see these all 6 types of roots are quite common within the society. Everywhere these are available. So that is the reason for many conflicts. And when a person is having these kind of roots, so such person lacks respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. That is one thing. Now, if he really understood the Buddha, the qualities of the Buddha, if he has sort of read the Buddha's teaching and he is trying his best to live according to the teaching, then definitely he should be able to abandon the wrong views easily, and he may come down and listen to the others. So likewise, he has some good qualities. But when these roots are available in a certain person, then such person typically lacks respect to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. And he does not properly fulfill the training. He think he is already trained, maybe even. He is with a lot of conceit, doesn't want to listen to the others. He is overestimating himself, and he doesn't really fulfill the training. It may lead to disputes. And the consequences are actually harm for many, not just one person. Now, especially when some sort of a dispute happen within the Sangha, so it may spread towards the community in the sense the lay community. The lay community get into trouble. The lay community get into disputes. Two lay groups start now fighting each other. But the cause might has happened within two Sangha members, but it has spread towards two communities, and two groups are now in conflicts, arguing each other, fighting each other. It's a really troublesome situation. And now the situation is quite unhappy. And it is not only for humans, even for devas, there is a conflicting situation. Now, how to overcome? So, therefore, Buddha advice recognize faults in oneself, not in the others. Try to recognize the faults within oneself. So, it's always mindfully doing some sort of an introspection. So rather than finding fault with the others, as we develop mindfulness, we become aware of our own thoughts, our own views, our own emotions, our own strengths, and our own weaknesses. On such situation, probably we might find what are the causes I am producing. So am I become a root for a conflict? Is because of me that the others are arguing? Is this also because of me that the others are conflicting? Or can I be the opposite? Can I be a person who is trying to establish harmony within the divided group? So that should be the way that one should behave. And if we understand the unwholesome roots within ourselves, we better abandon it, we better let go of it, and we should try to avoid it arising it again. And therefore, Buddha here we can recommend one to practice loving kindness, metta meditation, and become quite maintaining humility rather than being conceited, and maintain always the samadhi, the right view, and letting go of ego. So mostly things are happening because of our personality views. So we are making a strong ego and then not ready to let go of that. Then the conflicts are happening. And so harmony begins within. So if we are maintaining very calm, very relaxed, very cool, non-conflicting inner nature, then there can't be any conflicts. So one is not making conflicts with the others because internally you are happy, internally you are maintaining harmony, internally you are peaceful. Therefore, before we trying to abandon the conflicts in the outside, we better become sort of peaceful within ourselves. So while we holding grudges, while we holding wrong views and strongly attaching to them and all these bad roots, causes within ourselves, if we are trying to make the society correct, it's not going to work. Because I am also one root cause of making conflicts. So therefore, the invitation here, advice here is to find out the roots within ourselves and to correct it first. And then you can be a good person, good mediator to abandon the conflicts. You can work as a peace worker properly because internally you are peaceful. Internally you don't have any kind of conflict. Rather, you are a cool, calm, relaxed, peaceful person. Then, of course, you become a role model for others to generate a harmonious living. Okay, that is what I like to share today, and that's a very interesting topic. And with that, I conclude today's teaching. Now, I like to open the session for questions.
Ashini, you can present your question.
Thero ස්වාමීන් වහන්ස.
Yeah, Theruvan Sannai, Ashwini, I can hardly hear you.
ස්වාමීන් වහන්ස, can you hear me properly now?
Yeah, yeah.
ස්වාමීන් වහන්ස, actually I have learned lately that this hormone oxytocin, or we call it feel good hormone also, it is secreted when we are loving someone, or when when we are giving a complaint to another person, like that. So instead of those things, will it be secreted if we do loving kindness meditation, Swami?
Yeah, loving kindness meditation definitely is a good thing, as we already discussed. So it helps to have harmonious living within ourselves and having a loving kindness towards the others. So our attitude towards the others is more accepting, more forgiving kind of an attitude. there is less conflicts.
And Swaminahans, the other thing is, when we are mindful, Swaminahans, is it a level of high vibration? So that I want to understand it in that way as well, that's why.
Actually, people have shown that through uh, what you call brain waves. So certain scientists have done that through fMRI, functional MRI machines, and through that they find out as one develops mindfulness, there is a change happening within the brain waves. So alpha, theta, gamma. So likewise, they found they have categorized different brain waves, and so they scientifically prove certain changes are happening as we are developing through mindfulness.
Swaminahans, Obahanse asked me to go through some content which were produced by Dr. Bruce Lipton, and I went through them,
Uh-huh.
and he's actually talking about reprogramming the mind or something like that, and he
Mhm.
gives about three methods to do that. One is hypnosis, the other one is repetition, and the other one is staying in the present moment. Then Swami
Mhm.
Hansa, I must say, within about 2 or 3 days time, and I feel that my proliferation is less than before.
Okay, very good.
I don't know the cause for that, but I was doing the
Mhm.
practice according to the timetable without missing a single moment. I mean, like I told you, Saminas, that I have burned my leg and I was
Mhm.
unable to do the mindful walking. But actually, I didn't stay without doing mindful walking even a one session. Even after the day which I have burned my leg, I did the mindful walking because it was in
Mhm.
my timetable and I was actually having it as a habitual action, maybe. Then I did it,
Mhm.
and I was very
Mhm.
happy about that, and did all the housework also without a fail, even failing to
Mhm.
do even one work. So my
Mhm.
mother was pleased. And the
Ah.
other thing is, Swamin Hansa, um, I I had an opportunity to listen to several sermons by Obahanse in a length. That means two sermons in a length. Then afterwards, I
Mhm.
felt very calmness in mind. So
Mhm.
these days, most of the time, I listen to some sermons. So
Mhm.
I don't know whether it was the reason for me to get this less proliferation state, because I
Actually,
had
in
no
general.
time to think about anything else. I was just concentrating on the content of the sermon all the time.
Mhm. So good. I mean, no
Do you
problem. So
think
there
it's
are.
the reason, or do you think it's the reason, or Swaminhasa? It was the practice anyway.
I mean, both maybe because listening Dhamma, because you are not listening to music and any kind of emotional thing. Rather, you are listening to Dhamma. So Dhamma is belong to the Buddha. So Buddha is the most peaceful person. So he has uttered the Dhamma, he has preached the Dhamma. So it is the Buddha's Dhamma that we are trying to teach as much as possible. So definitely it is for the peace. It is for the abandoning of various views and abandoning of the proliferation, prapancha. So Buddha's Dhamma is always to calm down, to always abandon the disputes, to always for the tranquility and to the understanding. So therefore, listening to Dhamma leading for non-proliferation is something, I mean, it's a common thing. And not only that, since you are practicing also, that also contributing to the inner inner joy and inner happiness and inner silence. So all are contributing properly.
I'm happy to hear about it, Swaminhasa. Swaminhasa, the final question I would like to ask you is that, is it okay if I learn communication skills, Swaminhasa? For I realized that my communication style and all the aspects of it is not very good because I don't communicate with much of the people around. So if I learn that, is it necessary to learn that, or is it not good, or some, I don't know. I don't understand. What would you suggest, Hans?
Not a bad thing. Uh, if you are, since you are teaching the children and properly, you need to have good communication skill, then only they will understand, they start sort of grasping your teaching. So, I mean, if you think that you are not sound in it, you can learn, no harm. On the other hand, I mean, it shouldn't disturb your practice. So if you start so many things, then you don't have time for your practice. So don't sacrifice the practice for many other things. So give some prominence to the practice, and then still, if you think, okay, there is a little time available, let me use that also for something useful, then better use for that.
Thank you very much, Swami Hansa. Meristful Swami Hansa, Theron Sanai Swami Hansa.
Yeah, Theron Sanai.
Bante?
Yep.
There are some questions like submitted through the Google form. May I present them since there is no more
Yeah,
questions?
sure. Yeah.
The first one, I notice when mindfulness shifts to unmindfulness, my mind tends to think of a handful of people who frustrate me. When I see this activity as conditioned, fabricated activity, not something that is done by me, not mine, not myself, it's hilarious. So my practice is to keep my on noticing, keep on allowing mindfulness to see these things, and then to gradually lower any involvement, judgment, or identification with the activity. Am I on the right track?
Yes, you're on the right track, because I mean, because we can see that sometimes, as we already discussed today, many issues happen because my own conflicting thoughts. Because our mind can imagine things, our mind can sort of exaggerate things, and then we come to wrong judgments, wrong conclusions. And through mindfulness practice, we start learning that, we start understanding that, because it is my wrong view, it is something that I misunderstood, like that. Rather than trying to uh, go to the outside, now you come to the inside and do a sort of introspection. That is where we start correcting ourselves, because most of the thoughts are having some sort of a egocentric ideas and self-adornment type of ideas, and maybe looking down the others. So many thoughts having such kind of unwholesome roots, unwholesome qualities. So the more we understand about our thoughts, more we start letting go of them, because we don't want to say it is mine, because it is not worthy of telling it is mine, because it is not really wholesome. Even the wholesome thoughts are coming and going, we can't even depend on them. Then why am I going to hold the unwholesome thoughts? So likewise, as we are improving through mindfulness practice, particularly into the chittanupassana, so the thoughts are not so difficult or so rational things anymore. So sometimes they are irrational, they are not really worthy of holding, and so you start letting go of them.
Thank you, Bante. Next question. When I have unmindful thought moments, it is incredible to see that the awareness is continuing. In other words, even in times of unmindfulness, the mind is bookkeeping, is aware of that mental activity. This suggests that awareness is intact even in unmindfulness moments. Is this correct?
We can't say it is unmindful. Actually, at first we are establishing mindfulness in a deliberate way, because our minds are so confusing and so complicated and a lot of restless. restlessness is there. So it's a very effortful way we are trying to establish mindfulness. But later, so this mindfulness become kind of a endowed quality to the mind. Now it is available, and now you see that the mind is making thoughts and mind get distracted and all that happens, but you are still mindful. It is not that you are unmindful. You see thoughts are there, but they are not really disturbing me because I am mindful. So the mindfulness become the baseline. Mindfulness becomes the very much the established quality now. It's a kind of an effortless type of mindfulness now. And while being mindful, you see how the mind is working. It is not you. So you are very much like observing. You have some sort of observation quality, observing quality. While being at that level, you can see how the mind is operating, how thoughts are coming, and how situations are happening, and you are fully aware of that. And we interpret it as some sort of an unmindfulness, but I don't like to say like that. Rather, we are mindful about this restless behavior of the mind.
Sometimes what they like, so basically like unmindfulness means that we know that we our mind is not there when we are doing, even sometimes, doing an activity, right? So we do it and we just doing it thinking of something other planning other stuff, and that is how most, sometimes, we, day to day life, it's goes like that. So isn't that unmindful? And all of a sudden, like we realize, oh, I wasn't paying
Yeah,
attention,
yeah,
to
that
my.
is true. Yeah, that is there. That is there. But there the point is we become mindful, and then we understand, okay, previous few moments or previous 5 minutes I was unmindful. Now that is in the case, there is an unmindful period. It is not completely I am unmindful. And then afterwards, I am mindful. And during that time, I understand, okay, previous 5 minutes, I was not mindful. But what I was telling is, while being mindful, you can see how the mind is working, how the mind is trying to think and argue and go into the past, go into the future. But you still have certain establishment of mindfulness. So it is not every time that the mindful mind is silent. So the mindful mind can see the thoughts are occurring in the mind.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you, Bante.
Yeah.
um If wisdom arises from directly observing rising and passing away of phenomena, is insight into impermanence alone sufficient for liberation? Or must one also clearly understand that what is impermanent is unsatisfactory, and what is unsatisfactory is non self? The second is related to
So
that.
one minute, yeah, one moment. Okay, we'll start
Okay.
answering this. Actually, this alone may be enough. So, I mean, there are enough suttas giving us evidence because now, say for example, Anicca Sanya Sutta. If you refer Anicca Sanya Sutta, so Buddha emphasize knowing impermanence is really even helpful to abandon various kinds of latent tendencies, because latent tendencies are the problem. Because I mean, when you understand impermanence, definitely you can abandon the obsessive level of unwholesome qualities. Now now just to explain you, typically there are three levels of defilements typically mentioned. The most gross level is the transgressional level of unwholesome qualities, that you get into conflicts and you get into arguments, you are hitting another person. So that is at the transgressional level. And the obsessional level is where the mind is now thinking the unwholesome thoughts and things are going on. The mind is already uh, become unwholesome, but not yet you have come to a implementation. You haven't taken an action internally, mentally. Now the mind is impure. That is what we call as the obsessional level. On the other hand, even subtle level is called what we call as the latent tendency level, where it is at a very dormant level, latent level. It is not even uh, easy to understand, and the potential is there, but now the mind remained calm, but the potential is still hiding. That's a problem. Now, people can easily come to abandon the first and the second. Say you maintain good morality and you can abandon the transgressional level. And you practice samadhi and you can abandon the obsessional level. But still, the latent level still remains. Now, interestingly, in this Anicca Sanya Sutta, Buddha mentioned that even these latent levels, latent defilements are able to abandon through the practice of impermanence. So, and even in the Dhammapada, Sabbe Sankhara Anicchati, Yada Panyaya Passati, Atanibbindati Dukkhe, Esa Maggo Visuddhya. So, Buddha mentioned Sabbe Sankhara Anicchati, and you see all conditioned phenomena as impermanent. Yada Panyaya Passati, and you look at it, you understand it through wisdom. Sabbe Sankhara Anicchati, Yada Panyaya Passati, Atanibbindati Dukkhe. As a result of that, you become disenchanted about the suffering and you don't want to continue in a grasping way. Now you start a natural letting go process. Esa maggo visuddhya, and this becomes the path of purification. So all three routes or all three avenues are available. It is not necessary to have all three. I mean, one itself seems to be enough, strong enough to liberate us.
Thank you, Bhante. The second part, it says like, does deep insight into impermanence naturally lead to understanding dukkha and anatta, or must these be separately contemplated?
Typically in Dhamma, it is mentioned the impermanence is the most fundamental understanding, most fundamental insight, and it can lead to understanding of the dukkha and it can lead to understanding of the anatta. Yada niccang tan dukkhang. What is impermanent, that is unsatisfactory. And then in the Megya Sutta, Buddha mentioned anicca sanyino bhikkhu, anicca sanyino megya, anatta sanya santhati. When you have proper understanding about the impermanence, when you are having the perception about impermanence, it may lead to understanding about the non-self. So we can see the impermanence is the most fundamental insight, and the other two may propagate from that.
Basically, when you have the clear understanding, you're deepening your wisdom on the impermanence, it's basically leads to understanding the rest.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. The other question, what is the highest giving? In the Buddha's teaching, Dhammadana is considered as the highest giving. Shouldn't it depend on what is uproots? If the giving uproots hatred, metta may be the highest. If it uproots ignorance, Dhammadana is the highest. If it uproots clinging, renunciation giving is the highest. Please explain.
Actually, these are somewhat connected rather than we thinking in a linear way. Now, ignorance and tanha, craving, are quite connected to each other. So we are ignorantly holding things, we are ignorantly grasping things, being unable to abandon, being unable to let go. Now, therefore, craving and ignorance are very much interconnected. So you have wrong understanding, you are misunderstanding, or you are ignorant in one sense. So that makes you unable to let go, unable to give up. So now you can't give. I mean, you are not generous. On the other hand, when you are able to generous, so that means you can easily give up things, can easily let go things, in a way helping to improve certain amount of wisdom. Because when you are able to give up things, you're not holding things in the mind become more lighter, more spacious, And that is making a very conducive environment within the mind to develop wisdom. So therefore, the ability, the wisdom and the generosity are fairly connected. So the renunciative ideas, renunciation, say nekkhamma vitakka. Nekkhamma vitakka is something, the positive side, and it may not happen within proper view, proper understanding. So when you are properly understanding only, it may promote generous letting go, kind of a natural letting go. Otherwise, we hold things. Otherwise we grasp things. So they are well connected. So in a
So,
way, we can say ignorance is the root cause. Because now avijja pacca sankhara, now avijja is taken fairly as one of the root causes. And actually, there is a Dhammapada verse where Buddha mentioned as a simile, avijja as the father, craving as the mother. so so our typical minds are product of this mother and father, avijja and the craving, the avijja and tanha. So therefore, in a ironical way, Buddha mentioned to kill mother and father. So that doesn't mean the real mother and father. It really means that you need to abandon both avijja and tanha, but it's the same path. There is no separate path to abandon avijja and then another separate path to abandon craving. Rather, when we are practicing Noble Eightfold Path, both will be abandoned
so then,
naturally.
wait. So basically, Bhante, it's uh, Dhammadana is the highest
Yeah.
because it's like uproot the ignorance.
Yeah, we can say so. Because the thing is, I mean, typical dana, now say you are materially donating something, it may abandon some temporary situation. But the Dhamma, on the other hand, when someone listen and someone understand, and when someone is able to realize, practice and realize, then it's giving the solution for the whole samsaric journey, not just not just a very temporary situation. Rather, it's a more advanced and more uh, holistic type of a solution.
Basically, what you are giving us is the Dhammadana. Much merit to you, Bhante. The next question, most venerable Bhante, where does one draw the line when donating money to friends? Should one donate each and every time a request is made? This question does not apply to donation to Mahasangha. Thank you, Bhante.
uh, I mean, it's difficult to, as you mentioned, I mean, as you predicted, it's difficult to draw a line when to give and when not to give. Mm, I mean, there are limitations. I mean, we can't always give away because we also may not have sort of so much of money to give away. So therefore, certain limitations may be there. So that's we need to understand. So it is not that we are always forgetting ourselves, forgetting our well-being, and then donating. Rather, we need to look at the both sides. Now, say for example, you are running a family and someone else is also running a family and he may be having a problem and he is asking some money from you. Okay, fine. If you are able to manage yourself, okay, you can give it away, you can help him, doesn't matter, no problem. But you yourself in a trouble and you are in a really bad situation and then still someone else is asking, then you need to see both sides. I mean, still if you can manage, you can donate, no problem, that is worth. On the other hand, you need to consider both situations and not sacrificing the whole well-being of your family. Still, if you can manage and if you can donate, no harm, you can do it. But I mean, in general, we have to see both sides. On the other hand, I mean, Probably you may be asking coming from the view that every time we should give, every time we should give. I mean, that is also sometimes encouraged. Even with little you have, if you are able to give, so that is something more sublime. It is not that when we have something excess we give, it becomes more sublime. Rather, even when we have very little and we earn it righteously in a more difficult way, we have still earn it. Still, I have the capacity to share it with someone else. Then that is more sublime. That is more wholesome.
Okay, thank you, Bante. Um, there is one more question. It's regarding the Visakha Sutta. Um, shall I read that to you?
Maybe, yeah, maybe it is coming from last month's thing, right?
Yeah.
The woman of the home, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The question is in the Visakha Sutta, Visakha requests permission to offer 8 kinds of support to Sangha. When the Buddha asks her reason, she explains that the gifts are not given for fame, rebirth, social status, or emotional reward. The Buddha then praised her generosity as wise, timely, and renunciant. Why did the Buddha describe her generosity as renunciation? What makes her giving an act of nekkhamma rather than ordinary generosity?
No, actually, as far as I can remember, this Visakha's 8 boons, where she wants to give porridge to the Sangha as a general requisite, as a general donation. Every day she wants to offer porridge. That is one thing, and then she wants to offer rice and whatever that the danas every day, and whoever the sick monks for every day for those sick monks she wants to offer, and the attendance of the sick monks she wants to offer, and the newcomers to the Sravasti she wants to offer because they are new, they don't know where to go for alms, so they are invited to come to Visakha's place. So that is another boon that she is asking. And then the leavers of the city, now they want to they want to leave early and they want to leave for long journey, and even in case they have to go for alms round, they don't have enough vigor to travel and they don't have enough time to travel. So on such case Visakha wants to offer. So likewise, I mean, very timely and fairly wisely, she's deciding. I mean, these are the situations that I better help the Sangha, and she's asking these boons. And on the other hand, she mentioned, Bante, when I'm reflecting that certain monk has become an arahant, and I know that definitely he has, at one day or many days, he definitely has taken maybe gruel from me, maybe porridge from me, maybe some dana from me. When he was sick, I have attended him. Or the attendant of that particular monk has taken some dana from me. Or when he want to leave early the Sravasti, then I might have offer him dana. Or when he's newly arriving in the Sravasti, I might have offer him dana. So I definitely there are enough opportunities for me to understand. Okay, definitely I have contributed something. That makes me really happy. Internally, I feel so happy because of my this worthy offering. That particular monk was really benefited. See, now he has become an arahant. That makes me really happy. So she's really wise, and she's not merely giving it as a donation. She actually uses that opportunity to make her happy and then attain the samadhi, attain the wisdom. That is a more wise way of giving. It is not that you just give away and neglect it. Rather, you are using it for the further understanding, further growth of the Dhamma, growth in the Dhamma, growth even in the practice, the meditation even. And Chaga Anusati, actually it is type of a Chaga Anusati. Chaga Anusati, you know that there's a Anusati meditation. You are reflecting the qualities, the reflecting about the generosity about yourself. And so this is a type of renunciation because we are giving here, donating, giving away, all are coming as a renunciative side. It is not that the renunciative mean that you give up the lay life and then become a monk. Rather, renunciative thoughts includes giving away. So you have something and it is your own, but now you can give it away. That is also a renunciative thought. I don't know whether I answer the question.
Basically, Bhante, it says, I remember like first Buddha refused her request, and then when she explained, then Buddha said okay, because her giving is not because for her fame or like a
Mhm.
social status or like a that emotional that reward that she's getting. Oh, I did that. So basically promoting herself, uh,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah.
that is what uh, yeah, that is what it actually has. Because of that, it is that generosity is not like regular like a ordinary generosity. It is like
Mhm.
renunciant.
Yeah, we can say so. I mean, she is making that offering as a very good conducive cause to make go to the next stage. Not just to accumulate some merit, rather she is using this condition to generate certain inner happiness, inner joy, and then the samadhi, the concentration, and then the wisdom. So it's connected, well connected with the practice. So therefore, it is more advanced way of giving in a way, not just giving it and forgetting. Rather, she is remembering that not to boast as I did it, as you have mentioned. It is not that I did it. I am the one who has donated that, and I am the one who made them happy. Without me, they can't survive. So that way, we are making a self. Rather, she is honestly doing it and then make her happy. That happiness being used to generate concentration and then wisdom. Very skillful.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Bante. That's all the questions I have for today.
Okay, good.
Uh,
Actually, we have spent 1.5 hours, and I think we have a fruitful session today. Since we have one day's retreat today at okay, there is someone
uh,
else
I think there's
also.
another question, Bante.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
Kusum, please, yeah, unmute and ask your question.
Thero Sarnai, thank you so much, Bante and sister. My question is about the sutta that you explained, Bante.
Mhm.
You mentioned about the last one, clinging to views.
Mhm.
It's about Sanditi Paramasa.
Yeah.
Is it relating to the Silabhata Paramasa or that we have heard of
No,
Silabhata
this is in general. Actually, Silabhata Paramasa is more, Sanditthi Paramasa is a more general type of an umbrella term where whatever view you adhere to, you are strongly holding, not being able to let go of. Now, Silabhata Paramasa is only to the level of rites and rituals and various types of observances where you are holding them strongly and you are believing, okay, it may lead me to the purification. So only one section is Silabhata Paramasa. But Sanditthi Paramasa means in general, you are holding any kind of a view, any sort of adherence in general.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much, Bante, because we should be like, we should have the like samadhi for the as the foremost first runner
Mhm.
according to Mahachattarika Sutta. So I was like confusing with that. That's why I just asked, how do we paramasa with the ditti? Um,
No, that's a very interesting question. So, I mean, we are not supposed to paramasa the right view. That is not the right view then. So,
of course.
interestingly, Now the thing is, now when we are talking wrong view, always we need to abandon wrong view. Then how about the right view? Are we supposed to hold the right view? So that is the question typically can come. But interestingly, right view intrinsically say, okay, you can't hold. Holding is not right view. So the right view always lead us to abandoning things, always lead us to sort of letting go of things, and the mind should not grasp. So there can't be any upadana while when we are holding the right view. Right view may prevent any sort of upadana, any sort of grasping. So therefore, right view can't grasp. So whenever the right view is operating within the mind, it always releases the mind rather than grasping.
Understood. Thank you so much, Bante. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. The other one is there a way that we can get the recording of these discussions?
Yes,
Shalika, you can answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
I always like send with the reminder. So yeah, definitely you will have it in. Yeah, you will get it. You're receiving my emails, right?
Sorry, I am getting this one from my sister Shiromi.
Okay. Okay.
If you send to her, that's yeah.
Yeah, I will send her the registration link so you can register. Then you will be getting the emails.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Apramanaping. Thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
thank you, Bante. Thank you, sister.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Bhante, there's one more question in the chat. We talk frivolously and in fun way. Fun, we say things to make people react. We sit back and enjoy while the other party goes on and on, justifying their stand, getting more and more stressed. Meanwhile, the creator of this situation has a good laugh. Aren't both parties creating bad karma?
It depends on the situation. So if I'm making, just to make people ignorant more and more and get into wrong habits and get into more uh, craving manner, if I'm promoting that, definitely yes, both parties are contributing wrong way. Contributing in a harmful way. Because I have created a kind of a situation which is quite deceitful, and people get easily attracted to it and they start completely indulging in it. So I might have if I am the one who has prepared that, even though I am enjoying it by seeing how ignorantly they are sort of indulging in it, since it's more into the sensual type of gratification, so we can't say it is beneficial to both sides.
Okay, Bhante. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the much merits for the valuable Dhamma talk today, Bhante. And Thiruvan Saranai.
Yeah, Thero and Sanai.